Oh, I thought I was taking a picture. I was just thinking about my soul family. You know what I'm saying? You guys aren't subscribers because at any moment, at any time, if you don't subscribe to an idea or a stance that I may have, feel free to, leave and come back later on when it realigns with you. So I was thinking, it was like, I want to go live, but I've lost a lot of subscribers over the years, the 5, 6 years that I've been on the platform. And that's okay. That's okay. Um, because if it's for you, it's for you. If you ride with it, you ride with it. And sometimes people forget they're even subscribed to me. They may not even have those accounts anymore. So that's all cool too. But I was reveling in the thought of access, right? On the channel, I talk about polarities, and if you are a sun sign this, then you have access to that. Much like if your north node is in a particular placement, the opposite is true, and you have access to that south node more predominantly than your true north. And so I was like, I'm lit up natally from Leo season all the way to Capricorn season just because of my natal placements. And it's like to have the placement of Venus and Libra and really embody it and to feel it. It's like, it's jazzy. It's like, it's on my skin, but it's like, it's in my spirit. It's in, my move. And it was like, okay, it's accentuating a lot of things. But with knowing on my Facebook page, I'm going to take them through different books and stuff to really bring home how to hone in on their abilities to figure out what type of abilities they really have so they can start to have a point of focus. And where I want to take my tarot teaching course is it's going to have to be levels and stages because this is, for some, it's a rabbit hole and they get completely stuck in. There's loops, there's trick doors, there's dead ends. But to know that I've been exposed to teachings and things, not by other people who came up with these formulas, but different types of teachers, rabbis, j- different different stuff, all the way from the Kabbalah to studying Atlanteans and Egypt, Roman, Greek, and how of finding the commonalities. And I won't bore you guys with all that stuff. I'm just really fucking excited. Um, I know the live I did on YouTube was for the 6 signs, and then I just did the readings yesterday for the other 6, except for Cap. Now, Capricorn has been coming up really significantly in these past 2 days for me. And it was solidified. They were on my mind in the late evening yesterday after I finished Scorpio. And then I was contacted by my resident Capricorn friend for how many years has it been? About 23? 20 years. 21? About 21 years. So it was like, okay, I feel you. And then this morning, it was another Cap that I've known since high school. It's like, ooh, wow. Okay, so this energy is really, I was going to record it last night, but it was like, nah, leave it alone. Hit it tomorrow when the energy is switched and fresh and the momentum is different. I don't know what it was about yesterday, but Cap was like, nah, we'll wait. Like, nah, leave me be. So just I feel different signs differently. They speak to me in different ways. For anybody who is, well, I don't advertise my WordPress like that, but I'll do, I have done, I'll say, meditations with the harmonics and the resonance of the frequencies of each planet, of each sign, and do a meditation with it and pull a message, not even from the cards, just intuitive. And I think I'm going to go back to that because my verbal speech and my written speech are two different languages. Uh, so, anyway, pull the stones. I just talked for 5 minutes. 5:55 on the clock. Let's see. I'm going to pull the stones first, then pull the numerology cards, and let's see the correlation that we get that way. That piece. There's a message. There is a new way of speaking your truth, right? And when I say truth, I don't just mean revelations or speaking on secrets that you have or anything like that. What I mean is some things that you have not said out loud, and for whatever reason, maybe it's or feeling the need to hold back certain things in certain group settings, or even speaking on topics that are candid, or even taboo. Hey, Scorpio. We have the root chakra here, and we have the third eye. I feel now you have this stance on life where you understand how the matrices and the matrix itself works. Not the intricate quantum physics type shit, but to know that you can say what the fuck you want to say. We're in that time. And so there's the more reserved signs, Capricorn specifically comes to mind, where they know they could body somebody with a sentence, but so can Virgo. Assault weapon actually is the tongue. Double-edged sword even. And all that. Let me move this light. So what I'm saying is, as you have been coming into who you are, the newness that you are, there comes a time when you're looking at others who are speaking unabashedly, and you're like, fuck. Either you're repulsed because it's like almost scary to see somebody just speaking, even no matter, not even specifically what the content is, but things that you have already thought. And it's like somebody had the fucking balls to say it. And it's almost like a fear response to be like, oh my God, did they just say that? The thing is, if it's the truth, it hits and it triggers like no other. So you see a lot of people get butthurt by truth. You see a lot of people, and this is intricately tied to DNA, to like these trigger points. When people talk about slavery, the African condition is not even the only trigger point of slavery. It far exceeds that. It far exceeds that. So this is something that a lot of us don't even recognize we were founded on, like we were bred into. And I'm not talking about just color. I'm talking about the human race as a whole. And it can get biblical. You go from two to all these different nations. Like, where the fuck did these folks come from? We'll touch on that another day. But it has always been the same kind of MO. It's always been particular people in power saying what they want, doing what they want, acting how they want, and then others who have been in positions where they felt they could not, or warned against doing so, and there's always been some type of reprimand for a lot of people that even watch this channel. There's this weird construct or weird hold where, and it's not even physical. It's a like being pulled from or deterred from speaking certain things, certain knowledges, certain wisdoms and experiences. It's like the power in your speech has been something kept under wraps for a very specific reason. The power of your tone and your speech and your knowledge coming out of you, it ripples shit, and it does shift a whole lot. There is no accident that people have been coming out for the last 7 years specifically and really just broadcasting their talents, their abilities, really teaching. Before that, you had people who delved into those types of depths, but those were the people who were considered woo woo. Now to see so many people aligning and actually having similar belief systems, or having and being compelled to speak on these experiences of a mystical sort, it has nothing to do with religion, honestly. It has more so to do with our core existence and why we're even here, how we got here, those deep, deep fucking mysteries. Now, yeah, I'm talking on and on and on. Does it really make sense to some of y'all? Maybe, maybe not. And I'm okay with that. I'm mentioning some of this stuff. Where's my ring? Okay. I'm mentioning some of this stuff because if I start to elevate and speak on higher vibrating topics, and not to say that anyone here is low vibrational. What I'm saying is, if you know that you're not that deep into it and you just want random tarot messages and want to go about your day, you might want to consider if I'm the reader for you, because I read a whole lot of shit, not just cards, energy, music, deities. I get messages from a lot of different sources and am put in the place to be to learn certain things. It's an orchestration happening. And so there will be a divide. And I've spoken about that before. And I just see that people who have been able to resonate with me over time are people who have naturally been aligned with where the fuck we're going. And even if they're not into astrology, even if they're not into the tarot so heavy, I can just see that they have a resonance. And because I do the thing, we're all affected by that energetic shift, because we're all connected. We're all intricately a part of the same, like, squad, so to speak. And so, and I see on here people are like, okay, this is the fam, this is the squad, this is the nation, this is the, and it starts to categorize and compartmentalize people who align with a certain or subscribe to a certain notion and whatnot. And here we have different belief systems. We have done shit differently. We learn differently. We read differently. We experience energy on a different level. I have a subscriber that isn't a subscriber. I mean, she is her own person. She has her own gifts, and they're enhancing over time. You know what I'm saying? She became my pen pal. Like, we would email each other on some real shit because, I mean, hey, don't let this screen fool you. This is what some people, they get so disconnected from the whole purpose of being of service. They feel that they are untouchable, or you know, they get to a certain place and they're unreachable. It bothers me. It bugs me. It bugs me. And I know, I mean, if you are protecting yourself in a very sincere way, then only sincere things are really going to um, get close to you. Anything else will ring your alarm. So just understand that shit too. I'm okay with where my channel is right now as far as subscribers, friends, um, family, soul group, whatever you want to call it, because I couldn't imagine the confusion from 100,000 people with different energies, and the confusing nature, especially if they're not aligned and they're just clicking because the tagline is so fucking catchy. You know what I mean? So I'm here to really influence the making of you. Like, you have to become who you're becoming. And I'm here to help because we need you. Whatever part you play, whether you dance, make music, write, um, you're an artist, you don't have to do any of that shit. You could be in the medical field. Yeah. You could be a babysitter. You could be, you can work in a warehouse. Hell, there's something you do when you put your hands on shit, or when you speak. You're in places where people seek you for guidance, or they may spill out their whole damn life story to you. Their spirit is telling them that it's an answer you have that they need, and they're unbeknownst to it. They're just following their guidance. They're just following that whim. And that's something, once you come into acceptance of it, or once you say, hey, yeah, I accept my mission, you really on the right track. You will start to be led, and those synchronicities will start to shift and change. They will come in the form of numbers, but you'll start to see resonance that no one else can pick up on, because it is a secret. It's for your eyes only. It's really confidential. You know what I mean? This is where that securities part comes from with the celestial securities business, is having the eye, having the ear, having the knowing, all these clairs, these clairsentience, claircognizance, clairaudience, clairvoyance. They're very specific to you. And the only thing people can tell you, honestly, is how to get better with practicing them, but not how to be you with them. You understand? Um, we have some mediums in the building. We have some mental intuitives in the building who can quantify and come to these patterned conclusions of certain things. They can infer information and really foresee what's coming next. You have the emotional intuitive who can feel shit from a mile away, other people's emotions. This is where empathy ties in. But to be careful with that one, because exaggeration of the emotional intuitive nature can also be borderline intrusive. And I spoke on that in a Cancer reading. Just to be fair and just to be clear, um, you don't have a narcissist who acts alone. They have a partner, and that is usually an empath. I promise you, there are subtle things that you'll find in the dark nights and the healing of dealing with a so-called narcissist, where there's no longer any blame, because what has been done to you, you've been doing in an equal and opposite fashion. It's very, very triggering to some that I've encountered and I've talked to. But once they're on the other side of it, and they come into that polarity, that polarity is no longer a polarity, but a rhythm of oneness, then they're like, fuck, it wasn't them and it wasn't me, it was us. They're starting to understand. They're starting to see it's necessary to bring out certain reactive natures that are aligned with your wounding, especially if you're an emotional intuitive. Then you have the spiritual intuitive that can, like I said, the mediumship comes into play, but also with the guidance, being able to hear the deities when they come in, to be aligned with certain practices, principles, um, ancient arts, and knowledge. There's something about an energy signature as a spiritual empath where you can't explain why you know it's whomever it is, but it's coming in loud and clear. Excuse me. And then you have the physical intuitive who can touch and receive information from buildings, pictures, um, artifacts, pieces of jewelry, heirlooms, all kinds of stuff. They can touch something and feel and receive all kinds of messages from it. And I think that is one of the hardest intuitive abilities to really manage. So the others really do come into play. They're all skills that can be exercised and honed and gotten better with. This is why I don't hug a lot of people unless I really know them and I accept their energy. Why? Because physically I will start to ail wherever they've been ailing. And that too is with heartaches. And this is a combination of the spiritual empath, the emotional empath, and it starts to trigger the mental the mental intuitive nature, and I can start to see the puzzles pieces start to fit together, and I get a whole fucking play by play of what the fuck has been going on. So can't touch on everybody, just got to be real selective. But I think now is the time where the channel takes a turn, and it might be a little wild for some who are just dabbling and just wanting to see something quick and easy. You know, just give me a reading. I want a love reading, and I want to do a love reading today, no lie, after I do Capricorn. But you're not gonna always find me talking about the other. You're not gonna find me talking about what they're doing, how they're getting their karma and shit like that. We got enough karma of our own and enough of our path to still uncover and unblock. So you're not gonna find me doing certain things. Because too, with the emotional intuitive nature, to continuously pry in other people's shit, that is deceptive, and it is intrusive, and it is narcissistic to feel that you're entitled to their personal business, because their life is their own and yours is yours. And so if you were a part of their life, a real important intricate part of their life, these things wouldn't have to be hidden from you, and you wouldn't have to pry and attain the messages that way. That's when the tool that we're using is getting abused, and this is why it becomes harmful. People start to intervene and project and take what they've gotten from these readings, information that they weren't naturally given or naturally privy to, because your guides will show you the truth. You will get the messages in dreams, or it will be divulged to you when you are in alignment with what truth is. And therefore, if you're not, and you're receiving it from somebody who's tapping in and invading someone else's privacy and someone else's energy, that really does come back to you in a very not so hot way. So be very careful with that, my friends. We don't have to spy, baby. We're naturally intuitive, and we naturally have the abilities, and what's for us will come. It will come. We don't have to seek and sort and sift and find. And when you do that, you're actually creating more blockages and more issues within your own journey. And now you have done something towards this person and been intrusive towards this person. They're going to be repelled from you. And it's always like, oh, when are they coming? When are they coming? When I'm waiting for their communication. They're being told not to fucking talk to you, because You're not trustworthy. You're not to be trusted. You do deceptive things behind their back. You see how that works? And you're feeling from these readings that the deception is coming from another person, that they're keeping secrets from you when their life is not for you to know through and through. You're not their parent. You're not their twin. Even those two people are not obligated to know a play-by-play of someone else's life and timeline. Just like when you're going through your traumas, when you're going through those experiences that you're not so proud of, those people aren't there to witness a play-by-play, because if they did, you would feel like you were violated. If somebody was to, have a candid camera, taking every bit of your life and putting it on display for someone that you didn't want to know these things about you, because it was your own issues that you were trying to work through, how intrusive and how invading is that? Do you feel safe loving a person like that? So this is what I'm saying when empathy becomes exactly what narcissism is. So, my friends, be careful and watch out. You'll start to, and you can see it. You can look at readers and see what they're reading and how they're, and it naturally, I have to unfollow, unsubscribe, because it influences those types of things. And it's not cool. I'm telling you, it puts you 10 steps back. And you start to feel the effects of it. It almost feels as if you're being attacked. You have to imagine, when you're ever feeling like that, when have you ever, when was a time when you were intruding on someone's energy, imagining, fantasizing, thinking, crushing, just feeling, thinking about them while you're, doing whatever? They're being pulled on, tugged on, and energetically they'll start to repel it. Clinging doesn't have to be done in a physical form. It's energetic. It's emotional. It's also mental. And so these connections have been built with people who, this is why ghosting is what it is. They're trying to get the fuck away. Like, seriously. Because the energy is too intrusive. It's too, it's a fine line between empathy and obsession. And if you don't know the difference, it'll keep happening. I didn't think this was going to go there, but obviously I had to speak on some very hard topics today. The fuck? I'm going to do this love reading. I am. Let me get this candle going. This is Cosmic Love. Ooh, it smells so fucking great. So if you're still here with me after 28 minutes, you will get this reading. I fully intend that you feel the love that you've created since the moment you were born, the moment you were conceived. You influence feelings of love and admiration and awe in a lot of people, some that you know, some that you don't. And I really want you to honor that. You may not have that recollection, but the type of feeling that you gave another person the moment they saw you as an infant, the way that they held you, the way that they just admired you while you were sleeping, probably because you weren't crying your guts out. You stinking ass being changed your diaper, and afterwards, the kisses and the hugs and the pinching of the cheeks. These feelings of love are rarely talked about. You've encountered love on so many levels that we tend to forget once we're in an age and a stage where we're seeking companionship or want that sense of romanticism. We forget what love, all that it can be. The way if you have a plant, or if you have a pet, or if you have nieces and nephews, there's a certain bond of love. There's a certain sense of protection that you always feel over them, that you feel for them, to see them grow, to see them in their little quirks and their little, you know, coming into their own being. Understand that even in relationships that are romantic, you're going to see these stages in people because you naturally have an affinity as a parent. Some people don't have a parenting bone in their body. And those are more instinctual people who I would say are more reminiscent of like how animals may mate and the father is never around. Like he's mating multiple. The point is just to procreate. And you have a lot of what's going on with that now. But that's because people have forgotten what love is. That makes us different from what they call, lesser evolved species. So love itself is getting that, somebody giving you that last bite of their food. That's love, okay? A person anticipating your needs. If I go to Taco Bell, and that's been a long time, they give me napkins and all my sauces without me having to ask, that's like, oh, they got me. I don't give a fuck where it is, but I can always find something that aligns with those types of love languages. And I'm just weird like that. A person that speaks to me every single day, they make it their business because they're excited to see me for whatever reason. It doesn't even have to be romantic or personal. I really don't have to know them that well, but just the habitual nature of being able to count on their welcoming. It's a feeling of love that I just can't ignore. I can't forget about ever. It really does. If you have a certain store you go to, a certain place you go to, a certain place you eat, a certain place you shop, and you start to get familiar with these faces and with these people, and they start to remember you, there's a sense of, they got me, they get me, or they're happy to see me. This is all represented in the topic of love itself. You know what I mean? If you have children, or if you have parents that are still living, and they, without even knowing it, they're giving you things or conversation. Move this damn text message out the way. They're giving you things, they're giving you information or even gestures that couldn't be done. They're not just automatic, they're not just robotic, but it's like this is something they do, and this is something that is connected to love. If they take you to a place that they like, or they want to show you something that they find special, let you hear a song that they, or watch a video, or they're showing you something specific, it's like they're trying to let you in. They're trying to give you a piece of who they are. And that's another form of love. And so the way that we're used to our love language being, and it being reflected, coming in from different places, the moment a person is in your mind and in your heart classified as a romantic partner, it seems as if the bar gets raised 10 times as high, and they have to show something far exceeding these simple acts of love. But why? Why can't you hold them still the same, but in a firmer bond of companionship and friendship? Why does the moment it escalates or elevates to a physical level or a fondness that starts to now be unlock these romantic feelings, there's different qualifications and there's different expectations? Why? Because it is through that type of romantic love you start to unlock the majority of your wounds. The majority of your shadow lies behind that heart space, that part of your heart that starts to open because it starts to click in every part of your body. And these chakras start to light up when you're in that romantic move. This is why it's so attractive to everybody to have romance, because they start to unlock parts of them that weren't visible with the other forms of love around them. Kundalini. And so, wow, I didn't know this was going there. I just talk. I let the messages come. But yeah, I guess my crystal's working overtime. We have the lapis lazuli. I called it lapis lazuli for a long time. And I still will from time to time. It's rough. It's in its untumbled shape. It's very rough. It's real, right? It's, if you're not careful, it can cut your finger if it's too much pressure, right? But it's ragged. It's, listen, sometimes you have to blurt out something, even if you're not prepared for what happens after and what reaction you get from it. So if you tell a person that you've always been crushing on, or even a person that you're dating, or not even in a romantic way, if you tell a person a truth that you've always wanted to tell them, and it's not for harm, it's to bring clarity, it's to bring truth. It's like, no matter where it lands, I'm going to throw it. I'm just going to let it resonate. I'm just going to let it hit, ricochet off of whatever, and balls to the walls. Sometimes you just have to say it. You just have to let it out. Why? Because it will fester in you. You know what I mean? Like, it's been overwatered. I'm getting root rot from, this is the type of visual I'm getting clairvoyantly, is where it's been sitting in this pot. It's been overwatered, and the roots, they have nowhere to grow. They have nowhere to go. So when you replant it, you're giving this a new environment to dwell in. Okay? And this is what you giving your truth out and what you speaking your truth on, especially when it comes to your heart. There's no heart stones here. A lot of what you feel in your heart is still here. And it, root chakra, helps operate the way that you move during the day. All because of your center. Not your center of gravity. That would be more sacral. But more so your energetic center, where all the shit is percolating and it's sending off cues, and you think about love more than you just feel it. So when you go from thinking to being, and being, feeling, like you start to become what it is that feels so good to you. And that's the point. So speak love, feel love, hear love, think love. I care not if a person is going off on me in the pharmacy. They're in pain. But my kindness is love. Me explaining what's going on and how I wish I could better help them. But I want to point them in a direction to get more information, because they deserve that, especially with what's happening. I'm delivering a form of love with tonality, with words that aren't related to I love you. I can find love in anything. Damn near every fucking thing. Because that's just what I'm geared to see. I'm not ignorant to what isn't love. But that's not where my focus is. If I can pick love out of the lineup in all situations, I'm still connected. And that's what makes the spirit so fucking strong. I don't know if y'all understand where I'm coming from. But I hope it's making sense. I'm gonna keep that face down, but I'm gonna get one more. Number 6, love. The blue hue is just resounding. And then here, look at this, look at this. Relationship change. Your relationship with love changes, so will the love relationships you have. They will change drastically. Now, for this throat chakra stone, we have parenting that's coming up. And I spoke on it. Spiritual career. I spoke on career. No matter what the fuck you're doing, you put a little love in it, and it makes a difference. You'll start to see the difference. What is this card? Surrender. You can ride the wave of love without being taken under. You know how to swim in those waters. You've been doing it since you were an infant. Love has always been the wave. And back then, though, you were surrounded by it. You were surrounded by it. You always have a recollection innately of what love feels like. This is why people seek it out so much. Why people eat the way they do, or always have to have something in their mouth. There's an oral fixation that's related to parentage, that's related to either breastfeeding, bottle feeding, pacifier. There's something soothing. So instead of something coming in, what about something coming out? The way that you speak, the truths that you deliver, do so with that passion and just that vigor, standing on it out of love. Dating has become weird because I've actually gotten really comfortable with the notion of, what would life be like if I was by myself? I enjoy the person I've become, and I really enjoy my company. You know what I mean? And the things that I do, and the things that I study, and the time I have with myself, exfoliating, getting ready, cooking, organizing shit, reading, whatever it may be. And where was I going with that? Lost my train of thought. Okay, so just being able to speak with love and to be love and to wear it on your skin, it's your best accessory. And you'll find that 93%. 93% of people are not there. They look in the mirror, they see what needs to be changed. They look in the mirror, they're like, oh, I can't believe I woke up like this. There's some type of amending of what they've got going on. There's always like, I have to fix this. This isn't right. This isn't, look at this, look at that, look at this, look at that, look at this. The curl's falling and it's still cute. Why? Because I said so, and I'm gonna wear it head high. Why? It's mine. It's mine. And I'm proud of what I have. I'm proud of who I am, what I've become, who I've become. Even who I was then, it was the best version I could have been then. And so every day I intend to meet the one who is more full of love, the aura that is more full of life, the one that is more motivated, and like I turn me on. And so that 7% of people, suitors, that are actually in that energy, they're not going to come in quick, fast, in a hurry, because they understand what it takes time to cultivate those types of people. They understand and they can recognize it. And I'm telling you, this person is not going to be a person who's in multiple relationships back to back to back. They're not going to be a person who is um, full of drama and arguments. They're going to have a voice of their own. They're going to be able to speak up. Oh, that's where it was going. Truth. Dating is difficult. Why? Because that 93% that has been encountered already, you can speak your truth no matter how it lands. You can speak your truth because it's love. In order to divulge the truth, even if it's about yourself or how you feel, a lot of people aren't used to that. They're used to people much like them that still have things they're ashamed of to admit. I've got scars, hidradenitis, like my acne, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Of course I see it. Of course I know it. But that doesn't make my smile dim. You understand? There's a certain characteristic of love and loving yourself that really glows and shines through. And these are some of the stumbling blocks. Love itself, relationship changes, how things change once the status changes. The way that you've loved people has changed. The way you love yourself has changed too, dramatically, but also your parents. There's this thing of finding people much like your parents or not like them at all. And it's weird. It's weird. It's weird. I don't know. I don't want to elaborate on that. But it still stems back to a time when you felt love in infantry, in utero, and in your DNA are these archetypes: maternal, paternal, mater, material, pater, pattern. You get me? And so it's already within you. And you're going to get to a point where that shit no longer rules the way you live. A better understanding of their human condition. You were created, just that power alone to have been two separate things and coming together to create one that grows and grows and grows into a physical form. You just have to sit back and be like, fuck. At one point, I was just a thought. At one point, I was just a ball of unconnected somethings. I know I'm going on. I'm just talking. But your spirit isn't everything you do. Hence, spirituality is a lifestyle. It doesn't mean you meditate every day. It doesn't mean that you pray every day. It doesn't mean that you have all these affirmations and that you do rituals and burn candles and shit. I'm burning a candle today. But that's few and far between when it comes to my readings. I may have incense going. I may have sage. I may have frankincense. And it depends on what part, like how I want to ride the smoke. What kind of smoke I want to ride. What I want to smell. What influences what. You know what I mean? So that's just aesthetically pleasing. But it's also adding fuel to my fire. I'm earth sign, but I have air. I have fire, prominent fire, and lesser some water. And so it just, there's something, this love and this relationship change is really coming in prominent. I've been talking for 49 fucking minutes. Y'all don't even say nothing. Y'all don't even say nothing. Y'all don't be in the comments talking about how long it is or whatever. Only parenting. That's where this goes. gateway, garden. I talked about root rot. I talked about having to plant in another way, in another place. This is, ooh, yeah. But it seems like there's been controversy around that. What's this? Ooh. I didn't bring my heterosexual magic. I honestly didn't feel I needed it. Oh, Eight of Cups reverse. Hanged Man. Knight of Cups. I'm going to get to y'all, Capricorn, I promise. Six of Cups. Talk to me. Well, we have the Sun. Now, this is giving me the parenting vibes as well, because you had no understanding of anything but love at that point. You were only learning that stage from being born to 3 years old. You were really just getting your motor functions together. Like, you don't even remember things that temporarily, made you cry. The real pain, I would say, would be in that 3 to 7, or 3 to 10 time period. That's 6, 9, 11, 10. We have this Ace of Pentacles and this Eight of Cups. I feel that when it comes to love, the type of love that you really do need in your life, if you are to have a companion, if it is to benefit you and really help you grow creatively, characteristically, like soulfully grow, I already feel like you've met this person. Honestly, I feel that you're already in the knowing of this person. And if in the event that you aren't, they've been somewhere you've been. They already have your energy signature and you theirs. This card sits as kind of a joint clarifier between these two and the next two that are coming up. Five of Wands and the Hanged Man. And this is the thing that stalls people and keeps them from moving forward with things. It's like, I cannot simultaneously have conflict and peace. I cannot simultaneously have love and have war. And the moment you forget that you can't have one without the other, you have to understand that while you carry the love of, let's talk about war. When people carry the love of their country, they're in the war against the opposition. So love and war go hand in hand. And a lot of times, why people fight is based on what they feel is love. This conflictual energy here can definitely be family, differing ideas and attitudes, and how it doesn't align with where a person's actually going. This is diagonal from the Ace of Pentacles. And it's as if a beginning or a love partnership with a person couldn't even manifest because a person didn't have the clarity of what love meant to them. They hadn't witnessed it in their environment, but have a vague recall of what it really means. And this is a person kind of going backwards. They have to go back in their own psyche. This is a card of Pisces now. When their reality is something that they don't wholeheartedly feel is for them anymore, they really do have to go back. And they have to search certain parts of themselves, certain parts of the mind, certain times of life that were enjoyable, that did relate to what love can really represent and what it can mean. Because people are like, oh, that's the marriage card, and that's fine. Community, belonging, being welcomed, kindness, generosity. These are things that love is based on. This is why this is such a foundational card. It is a coming home, a welcoming. It's a celebratory. It's an embrace, and that's what this doesn't provide. That in and of itself becomes a burden that people tend to fall into apathy, and they tend to inundate themselves with everything they must do, how they must do it, genetically, traditionally, biologically. Man does this, woman does that. The routine, the mundane, the everyday responsibilities. You fill yourself up with enough activity and enough responsibility to not have to think about what isn't there, what you have had, and what you could have. It's a bore to even go to those thoughts, to go to those types of emotions, because you're going to find yourself back in the hangman, back to the Eight of Cups in reverse, recalling, revisiting. It's giving me real retrograde energy, which that is a tough time for a lot of people because they're going to be pushed into doing it whether they want to or not, whether they're ready or not. They have to revisit these things, and it's like, but I don't have that scheduled. I was supposed to do this, this, and this. It's like, don't worry. It's fine tuning you. The Empress is sitting here, and it's like, okay, well, this is how you parent yourself. This is how you have become the teacher that you needed. You have become the parent that you needed. If you blend both characteristics of your mother and your father, or everything you're made of, the masculine you and the feminine you, and you start to integrate those things, you can start to find those moments where you're avoiding. And I won't even say avoiding, I'll say prioritizing certain things because it takes up your energy. Therefore, you don't have the energy for what you're really desiring, what you really, really want to integrate and want to be ready for. This relationship change is, yeah, you've heard it before. The relationship with yourself in relation to your relationship with others. And I really need your naked truth on this. I really need you to take a real fucking look. If you had to shoot your shot, I don't care who it is. I really don't. I don't care if it's a celebrity. I don't care if it's somebody that you used to date. I don't care if it's somebody that you never even talked to, but you had a crush on. Blurt it out. Speak the truth. It's not going to hurt anything because at this point, You really don't care either way. If you've gotten to this empress status where you've had to be content or learn peace in your own presence, in your own silence, in your own company, you're at a point where you just balls to the walls. You don't give a fuck. And you will find, if you're the person reaching out, this person has been seeking someone like this. They're in the 7%. And they've kind of been hung up, knowing that what they've experienced as love, as an expression, wasn't wholeheartedly hitting the mark, and it didn't give that feeling of home. It may have hit the spot, the G spot, or look good in the public setting or on paper, but when it really comes down to it, it's not the Four of Wands. It's not giving that satisfaction. And us ladies don't always pursue, but when we do, we know, right? Men are a little different. They're taking a shot to see if kind of sort of, you know, and they're really just not concerned if it does have a future or if it will go somewhere. You'll find the majority of men don't even have that type of structure yet about themselves unless they're in that 7%. But the ladies, those ladies in the 7%, when they speak on something, they already have a knowing energetically, emotionally, physically. There's a response that's given within the body system that really is like, that one. I want that one. I don't know why, but it's that one. And you know what you know, and you stand on it. You hold it firm. This is those intuitive gifts that I spoke on. Women are more connected to it by nature. It just is what it is. Even coming down to the whole Adam and Eve thing. The serpent is not, people are like, oh, that's the devil. That was a guide, and it was necessary that we know the truth, that we know the difference between what is, just being forced down our throats and being able to make our own decisions. That's what she did by making her own decision was already in accordance with what the tree was all about. Otherwise, she would have never even touched it if she was following blindly what was being told to her. It was always the woman that has been more receptive to spirit and what it has to offer. Even the way it's been recalled and retold to people and rewritten and erased and hidden away, the real truths of it have always demonized what women are capable of and the power of the feminine energy. This is why so many people are having a hard time connecting to even their heart space and their ability to connect with spirit, which we all have spirit, but not everybody can connect to it because feminine energy is bad. Just understand that this shit is about to really just come full circle. Justice in the Six of Cups. That's what I was getting with this card, though. This Eight of Cups in reverse, I was feeling Six of Cups, but I hadn't really, besides it coming on the table, I wasn't ready to talk about it or wasn't honing in on it. But this is what I mean by aligning with what feels like home or what feels like it's really familiar. It really does touch on the point of love that you innately know. It's really, and it is internally jarring, but not to the point of disorientation, not to the point of, like, you may get the butterflies, but you may also get the wash of calm that comes over you. And this is aligned with that surrender because you'll be knowing what you're looking at. You'll be very fucking clear. And I care not you've if you've met this person already, like from the moment you met, you two have not even stopped thinking about each other. If they can't contact you, or if you have lost contact, they're trying to figure out how. Because it's just now starting to click. I think momentum you have put into knowing them, into feeling them, into accepting them, embracing them, is something that they did not know was so powerful. They really didn't even know at that time. I think it's like feeling it and being like, whew, where'd that come from? And you're like, damn, and then you see them bopping and they feeling themselves, and like, wow, that person is yeah, they're shining, they're all that. And it was this though that got into them. A feeling they couldn't describe but couldn't ignore, and it just affected them on such a powerful level. It was your power of influence. It was your showing them love in a not so direct way. Now it's time to be direct. So someone's going to be direct with you, or you're going to need to be direct with them. Oh. Love experiences. And it's not even love here. With this Nine of Wands, it's more so the booby trap. Falling for what they thought could have been love. But no matter where they've gone and who they've talked to, who they've touched, who they've embraced, they're not finding this same kind of feeling. Not like the one that you provide. And like I said, this Knight of Pentacles is here. It's slow but sure. And all this time, these two have been single. They're not moving from bed to bed to bed to bed to house to house to house to house to person. Some people are playing for the sport of it. Other people are playing for the mastery. You heard me say it. This is my quote. Some people play for the sport. Others play for the mastery. And these are those types of energies. This is that type of energy. Life is a gamble. That's what I'm hearing. But when you have something so valuable, you don't put it up. You don't leave it to chance. You don't play and gamble with this. Something that always gets your creative juices flowing, pun intended. You're building, your energy is skyrocketing. You're really in that mode where you can speak the truth. And it doesn't feel foolish, or there's no apprehension. And the only thing you can do is grow from hearing and learning the truth from one another. The moment a person feels as though their truth is so insignificant that they must hide it, you need to go. And it can be, you can love them immensely, but the moment a person feels that okay, what card went here? Oh, okay, I see. The moment a person feels like what they have to hide from you is their truth, they're not ready for you at all. at all. Even if their truth is something that is a deal breaker to you. A person who cannot own their own truth is a person that cannot protect you. Because you're going to hear the truth either way it goes. You're going to find out either way it goes. If it's a truth that affects you and you need to hear it, you're going to hear it. So if a person cannot deliver you truth, no matter how it makes them look, if they had to have to hide their truth from you, they're ashamed of who they are. And that's a person that you can't be connected to, should not be connected to. These two energies, they have to rely on each other because they both affect us in varying ways. You know what I mean? We need them both. So I'm going to show you what has been overcome. You can relate this to yourself, or you can perceive it to be in conjunction with your person. Now, this is common knowledge. This isn't what are they doing, who are they with, who have they slept with. No, there's none of that. But these are energetic influences that you can pick up on. If I'm not to read certain things, all of this shit would get cut off. I promise. I promise you. And so the influence that I'm seeing it's both ways though. You have to understand prestige and work, doing better for yourself, ascertaining certain financial goals and places of being, just your status, your prestige, what you're going to do for work. Do you enjoy it? There's a commonality here. You have to understand they're pretty much on the same track. They're on the same type of journey. You know what these feel like. Smoke and mirrors, confusion, being left in the dark about certain things, not having clarity on what the next step may be, or if you turn that corner or you make that decision, what the outcome could be. There's always this hidden tape, or there's always a catch. And it seems like it keeps you right out of touch with your prosperity, right out of touch with getting what you want, right out of touch. It always seems as if, but even that's relevant and relative. You have to see it. You have to be able to see that if you got exactly what you needed, what you wanted, what you desired, what you're doing this manifestation work, true enough, just by believing, feeling, having that desire, right? This Nine of Pentacles and this Magician, they're working in tandem. You have to understand that the Seven of Swords and the Seven of Cups is along that path too. You're gonna encounter all of these things. But it's also very necessary for you to see what the devil is like. So you know the value of the Lovers. So you know the value of the Chariot. So you know the value of these other things. You have felt every single emotion in this tarot deck. You know what it feels like to be in each of these positions. For better or for worse, upright or reversed. And so when the clearing happens and you are actually out of the material of the pattern, mater, pater, mother, father, you really come in and you meet you for the first time. And in doing so, you get back to your homeostasis as it relates to the feminine energy, the intuitive energy, the spiritual energy that connects you to that which is divine. Without that, you really have no foundation. There has to be an understanding that we are much more than we were told, that the limits that we were given don't apply the way that we assume that they did. There are limits, there are boundaries, and then there are certain things that are just are forcefully being capped. This is why you develop your own say. This is why you develop your own art, your own way. I don't want to date somebody else's parent. If they're raggedy in their ways, in their emotional ways, in the way that they speak, I don't want to date that person's parent. I want to date the person who has grown out of who his parents were and become himself, which is really getting back to yourself before you were given these ways of being, given these limiting perspectives of living. And we have always had our own styles despite who our parents are. True. Very fucking true. But there are certain things that have been repetitive and told to us in different phrases, different, it's weird. It's really weird. Depending on where your parents are from, there's certain customs that they have given to you, certain ways of doing shit they've given to you, certain ideas they have given to you. And it can be, it's just running on autopilot for a lot of people. And they don't even realize they do it. Or things that they have peeped when they were little, have now shaped the way that they do things as an adult in opposition to the way their parents did shit. And you have to come to that understanding that it is not mother or father, but you're now something completely different. You're a whole new creation. Surrender the idea of, I am my dad's daughter or son, I am my mother's son or daughter. That's cool. They're only guardians. They brought you here and they're supposed to teach you certain things. True enough. And half of the shit that you're going through is either going to solidify something they've told you, or it's going to do the inverse and repel and really refute what has been given to you. And you'll understand, like, damn, I am more evolved than my damn parents. I made it further than my parents, energetically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually even. And to look at yourself and your sageness and your wisdom, and to look at them like, I could really teach them some things. You're now walking in yourself, in your homeostasis. You're getting back to this natural point of purity where you can love without remorse, where you can love without guilt, without shame, without fearing it's gonna fuck up, or you're just building up the trust in yourself. That's it. The more trust you have, the better the discernment, the higher it is, the more in tune with the feminine part of you, male or female, you'll be able to sense and feel and use the skills that you've been building in the spiritual nature in order to act with grace, poise, equality. Oh my fucking goodness. You see this? I mentioned the chariot, did I not? I did. So yes. Massive success here. And I see 3 6s. When I see 3 6s, I feel like this is a completion. This is a harmony point. When you add 3 6s together, you get 18. That is vibrating at a 9 frequency. And that in and of itself is the end of a cycle so that a new one emerges. We have the Fool here. And we have a couple of 10s here as well. But more so than anything, 6s represent harmony to me. It represents home to me. It represents a feeling of comfort, satisfaction. No one's gonna tell me that 666 is bad. Not me. You're not gonna tell me that. It's been assigned to something, and if you want to believe it, you can. That's your ideology. But I don't, it's just not my belief. I'm not affected by it the way that others are, because it doesn't mean that to me. And it won't. These are harmonious energies. This is sharing. This is acknowledgement. This is being welcomed. This is what the fuck I was talking about in the beginning. You've experienced love on these different planes while existing here. You've had a moment of each of these energies. And this is what brings the lovers into what it is. This is what helps you decide. Oh, I'm sorry. Phone call and text message came in at the same time as I'm talking about the lovers. 2 important people where the love is agape. They reach out. That's boss shit. I like it. But listen, this love is vibrating at a 6. The word is given with this number. And I just had to look at it and realize that's what I was mentioning. Four sixes. 6 times 4 is 24. 2 plus 4 is 6. We get right back where we started. We come right back to love itself. We come right back to who we were. Because it's exactly who we are. You've already encountered this love. And the more you declutter and get all this other shit up off you that has been running the program, that has been just piled on and piled on through experiences, through parentage, through just trial and error of being a person in this society, in this world, all the different influences and stuff like that. You'll very clearly see what gets you closer to love and what takes you further from it. So if I express my truth to somebody and I let them know, hey, I'm not interested in you and I don't want to take this further because I love you, I respect you, I have enough love for you, though it may not be romantic, to let you know I don't want to waste your time. You're a good person. You may not be the person for me. That is even done out of a place of love. That truth. Why? Because you can avoid and evade and not tell them and play with their emotions. And there's a sense of betrayal that is felt after all of that. There's a sense of being lied to and deceived that is felt from that because the truth wasn't delivered intact the way that it should have been. They find out after having invested all of this time and energy of a lie. Like I said, it's hard to date because I'm going to tell a person what I like, what I don't like. I'm not going to harm their character. I'm not going to talk about the way their body looks. I'm not going to talk about anything that would diminish their self-esteem. But if I'm picking up on traits, characteristics, patterns, habits, I'm going to speak on it. But I'm also going to speak how I feel. If I'm aligning with something or something's cool for me, I'm going to, more of that. I like that. If I don't like something, like, it's not really my cup of tea. I'm not too keen on that. It just is what it is. But a lot of people, that 93%, just are more comfortable being lied to because that's a part of the pattern. They've been lied to for a very long time, and um, they know that they've been lied to by parents, by peers, by grown-ups, or whomever. And there's always this sense that if you are in a relationship with someone, they're going to keep secrets and they're going to lie. They're going to play games. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. And that's become acceptable across the fucking board when it shouldn't be. This shit is raggedy. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing about me that even now, I think people who are no longer connected to me romantically, it's always been truth. Like, I have to be able to speak my truth to you and you to me, or else there is no cohesion. There is no way that any of this shit can move forward, because it has to be the good and the bad. It has to be the ugly and the beautiful. You know what I'm saying? It really does go hand in hand. This is a long ass fucking video, and I wanted to do something centered on love, but I'm just not that regular ass fucking reader. This is always gonna bring it back where it's supposed to be. Like, yeah. So shit is going according to plan. Not your plan. But if you're not ready for it, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, it's not going to be ready for you at all. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But you don't want to be forced into something or have something that is meant for you put in your face or right in your hands, and you're not open to catching it. You're not able to even accept it because you're in a place that is still being refined. It's still getting worked on. So take this time and make sure that you're using it in the right way to really get down. Like, repot that motherfucking plant. You don't want to keep all of this water internal, all of this spirituality internal, all of this love internal. Make sure that you're recognizing every time that you reach out to that friend of yours, that is your form of love. You're checking on them, or you're sharing something that you like with them. That is your form of love. You need to honor each and every time that you notice it, because a person may speak to you in a language of their love. And if you're not keen to always notice what love can, how the many ways love can be expressed, and you will miss it. And you will assume that a person just doesn't have shit to give you or cannot give you. You're not going to be aware. Like, it will slip through the cracks and you'll always miss it if you're not careful. There's a reason why this person is fucking single. It's because people don't notice or appreciate or see their types of acts of love. Just like with you, people may not notice or may not understand those little small things, those little bits and oftens that add up to this big immense love that you have. It's like, it starts off small, but then it gets a lot bigger. And the more that you feel embraced, acknowledged, treasured, thought of, the more you give. And it's because you're in receipt of it. So if you can't recognize it, you don't even know it's being given to you. You feel as if you haven't got shit. And this is where the disconnect is. And this is where shit gets foggy. And people are like, well, I did this and I gave that and I did this and this is what they gave me. Nothing. I didn't get he couldn't do this, he couldn't do that. You have to be able to notice where love is at all times. That has to be where your eye is. Because even still, with love and noticing what love is, you can still call out bullshit that isn't. That's true. That's fine. You need to keep that objectivity about you. You need to be able to notice checks and balances. You have to be able to keep the shit in check. You have to have this hermit energy about you that can pinpoint and see shit from each and every fucking angle. And the hangman puts it all into perspective and puts it into balance. But up until then, start small. Start now. See where you're really being given love. Do it in a public way. See it in a public way. People who do comment on your shit. People who do love your pictures. Who do put in input when you put up a status. People who call you, check up on you. People that you've met that will never forget you. Who just, there's love. There's so much love around you. There's so much fucking love around you. I don't give a fuck if it's a neighborhood dog that just cannot stop wagging his tail when they see you. It's unscripted. There's no right or wrong way. If love is true, there's no right or wrong way. You have to be able to pinpoint what love is and what it really means. What it really means. You know what I'm saying? So it's everything. It's in everything. It's everywhere. The type of shit that brings out the love in people can also be tragedy. You need to understand that too. It reminds people to show more love. It reminds people to hold each other close and appreciate and have gratitude and treasure and cherish. You know what I'm saying? So you need to understand that without the lack thereof, you would never know the abundance of it either. So yeah, you really need to understand. You need to understand. This may not, it feels unpleasant, but you need to be able to recognize when you're being given a gift too. You need to be able to feel it and honor it. It's not too small or too big. Just like finances and currency and vibration is not too small or too big. You know, only we assign a value to these types of things because we're in a material world. But when it comes to the spiritual realm and the spiritual sort, one small act of kindness, one little minute action of love could make a person just light up for the rest of the week because of something aligning for them and being the closest thing to love they felt in a long time. You need to understand the influence, the power of it. It's not the grandeur. It's not so blatant and in your face and broadcasted or shouted from all the rooftops. Sometimes that recognition in that very subtle and balanced and calm way can just light up your life like a fucking lantern. Brought to you by the Resident Hermit. So these are just, and this is what I mean. It causes an implosion that can't be measured by anyone outside of you. No one knows what these little, what these things mean to you. Not little, but they may not be able to see the love in it. They may not be able to see the intent of it. But to understand that a person's language is an unspoken, love itself is like a telepathy. The shit is so fucking strong. I promise you. I promise you it is. That's what makes your relationship change. The 6 is representing the relationship and the 5 is the change itself. But this type of change, it will take you some getting used to, and it may be a little foggy. And you'll start to question if you knew what love was at all. And if people around you actually did love you. If what they really showed you was based on love and based on truth and based on, or if it was only given to you because of who they feel they are to you, based on you're my kid, you're my cousin, you're my sister, you're my sibling, I'm supposed to love you. Not a lot of people are getting that love in its true form. They're getting it because it's circumstantial or situational. we share blood, therefore I gotta love you. No. I'll tell a person I love in a minute. I don't like you right now, but I love you. You can take it or you can leave it. I may not like something you are doing in this very moment, but if I love you and I always will. The way that I love you and the way that I show love to you may differ over time based on our interaction, but love cannot be destroyed. Some strong shit. Some really strong shit. So, anytime you've been in this mode and someone is giving you something, a word, a line, a piece of candy, something small, a gesture of some sort, they were giving you love in the way they knew how. You have to look up to recognize it, because that's what they're attracted to in you. The love that you share, that you give, that you have, and the way that you do it. It may not be a dozen roses. It may not be a gift. It may not be going out on a date. It may not be romantic, but it's something solid that you will never forget. Something that you can always recall. And it's something that was given to you without being expected in return. Only people who are expecting to receive here are the ones on the ground, not the person who's giving. So think about that. People call this the breadcrumb card, and it can be, and if that's all the reader can see, then that's what it will always be. You have to understand this and this. These people are giving because it's what they want to do. It's what they've chosen to do. They want to give. And this is an energy of finally having received and understanding what it is to be a receiver, a recipient. So you have to be able to use all these harmonious energies of what love is in tandem. It's not just who you can give your love to or who you can receive it from. I legitimately told somebody, if I let you love me, you have to let me love you too. You have to allow me to love the way that I love. Because if you're going to be pouring all this energy into me, you have to be able to receive it too. This motherfucker had to do a double take. Because who doesn't want to just receive? Huh? A person who doesn't understand what giving means. That's who. And we've dealt with enough of those basically because we couldn't receive. So you will be paired with your match. If they take too much and you give too much, y'all are perfect for each other. And it will be some toxic shit because you're both in toxic energy. You're both doing toxic things, have those toxic traits. You cannot give to your detriment, and they should not take to someone else's detriment. You know what I'm saying? That's gluttony and it's sloth. It's but also like, oh, I don't, you have to be able to receive, motherfucker. Balance the shit out. Or you're going to keep being paired with motherfuckers who are imbalanced in that 93%. So let's move on to the 7% who have the balance, who have it in them. I just learned this. I just saw this parenting card upside down is 93. But yeah, this 7%, we got to get on with the get on. You got to be able to have both aspects of you very well balanced and moving forward focused. The moon is represented by Cancer, but I love that the depiction of the chariot itself is Cancer because it's daylight, but it's still the stars, it's still the moon. It's still giving sun and moon combination. The Sphinxes have that Leo type of energy to them, and the chariot with the moon, the stars, all of this around him is giving much moon vibes, giving very feminine energy, but it's the both of them. It's the both of them that really drive this motherfucker by day and by night. Who are you? Is that person the same? Or is there a part of you that only comes out when the moon is high and the sun is low? Who are you by day? Are you still able to show that vulnerability, that love, that compassion? Why are you still hiding your truth and hiding the love that you have to show? I know it's a dog eat dog world out here, but we ain't dogs, motherfucker. So we not gonna carry ourselves like that. And you can't compare yourself to a dog who, if it's happy, it's gonna be fucking happy out loud. It's gonna show. Okay, so just understand, being who you are at all times and being able to show that and have the confidence too is you living your truth, showing your truth, and loving on yourself out loud. And why? Because you want a love that is matched, that will love you out loud, that will be proud of the decisions they're making to love you. Surrender to it though. Put the pride aside and love yourself out loud so you can be loved out loud, completely and fully, bringing out all that creativity. I've been talking for a really long time, but y'all know when I get on it, I can get on it. I will be doing Capricorn today. Ooh, King of Cups. There you go, baby. Yes. Yes. You want somebody who don't have to hide their vulnerable side, who can tell you straight up, damn, man, you make me feel like I've never felt before. Like I've really, like, I'm feeling you, and you can be together and a person still admit they have a crush on you. Like, that's a good ass feeling. That's a good ass feeling. It's like, damn, you already got me. You already love me. I already love you. But to know that you always bring out that innocence in them, that part of them that is always excited, and not in the lustful way, but in that creative way, in that imaginative way, in that Six of Cups type of way. If you can always connect your inner childs to each other, because you have both, in that 7% of people, can really just get back to who you were and who you naturally are underneath all the shit that, the labels, the conformity, the habits and rituals and different things that you have used to shape the person that you are. You have some very core values to you that people can always connect to. And this is how you find people who are aligned, who are much like you. And that's what you want in love too, though. But if your truth is so buried beneath who you have taught yourself to become and who you have developed yourself to become too, then, I mean, hell, they're not going to recognize you. Ever. It doesn't matter what you look like. If you're not walking in your truth and speaking it too and loving on yourself truthfully, honestly, and out loud, they ain't going to hear you. In that relationship change, we had an energy of 5. In accordance, like, in addition to love itself, the relationship was given a 5 vibration. This is how you can break that change down. It doesn't have to be conflictual, but it's harmonious. 6 is harmony. So if that's the change, use the music to connect, because their song, their heart, their truth is going to carry a same, like a similar melody, and you'll be able to relate. You'll be understanding you two have a rhythm of your own. You're creating a song. The heart is a rhythm. It beats in a rhythm. You vibe in a rhythm. That's what changes. Not all change is bad. So when you're in your truth and you're speaking your truth, that's your own flow. That's your own, that's your harmony. That's how they're going to find you. I'm going to go now. And I'm going to come back with Capricorn's reading. And I'm pretty much just going to chill and contemplate. Probably rewatch the video because I said a lot. I need to take notes. Because I've been hearing some stuff for the first time. But it feels like I already knew it. But I don't know if I've ever said some of these things out loud. This is some wild shit. But thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I will see y'all later.